Around the world, people often see, whether it's businesses or consumers, they see the legal industry as old, as stodgy, as slow moving, not a lot of technological innovation happening. But in both of your businesses, you're actually bringing new technologies to that industry. Andrew, at Ross Intelligence, you're figuring out a whole new way to help lawyers research problems at hand. And Noah, at Cura Systems, you're helping organizations and law firms understand the body of knowledge that's in contracts. What would be the biggest piece of information you typically see companies extracting?
I think people don't understand a lot of the risks that are in their contracts. Like there can be really, really, really terrible things lurking in there, or maybe just spots where you've taken on a lot more liability and you as like the CEO or the CFO of an organization might not actually have any visibility into that, right? Like it got done in the legal department, ideally it got done within guardrails, but what we see is when companies look, they find things that they don't expect to see.
And on that point, research is a huge factor. Andrew, what are you doing there?
What we do is, if anyone's ever watched the classic lawyer movie, there's always that scene in a library where they're throwing books and it's 5 in the morning, and then they find that case that wins them their entire matter. They ended up digitizing all those books, but the problem is you have tens of millions of cases, tens of millions of pages of statutes and regulations, and it's really hard to know as an attorney, where things are. What we've done is kind of streamline that process so that lawyers can just ask their question the way they would ask a colleague of them in natural language, and our system will find what makes sense in terms of those arguments to make and actually contextualize it. So we've done this really neat thing where they can say, hey, these are the facts of my case, and this is what I'm researching for, and our system, Ross, will be able to find that information and organize it and do some summarizing so they're off and running.
Do you think that there's an opportunity, Noah, for organizations to lower their costs? Is this an efficiency play or is this a productivity enhancement play?
So in an acquisition where before they might have only looked at 100 or 500 contracts, now they're looking at 1,000 or 50,000 contracts, and they can do it because they're able to be so much more efficient. And so clients are willing to pay for that because they're getting great value, like better value than they were getting before, sometimes even for more money than they would have paid before, but they really are getting to see things that they wouldn't without using the software that enables them to look through their contracts in so much less time.
Yeah, so the software that you're seeing emerge within the legal kind of market is allowing lawyers and in-house teams to start to look at these documents and find insights that otherwise they might have missed out on, or it would have taken them tens of hours to find. Now, when you do that, you could either focus purely on the efficiency gain of it. Ross is saving between 25-70% of time, which is wonderful. But I think most excitingly is it's about, and Noah mentioned, finding things and starting to go and do work that you might have otherwise only been able to kind of schedule only a few hours on based off of budget. Oftentimes, as a lawyer, your client might say, hey, this is my budget. What should I do in this situation? Ultimately, you would hope that they find the best kind of route and the best research to back up their position, but they have other clients, you have a limited budget. So it's about changing those dynamics.
And so what does the future of the legal industry and the future of law firms look like? What can consumers and businesses expect to see?
The future in the legal market is going to be a change away from some of the rules that are in place right now, which will enable even more innovation. Right now, a lot of folks don't know this, but only lawyers can actually own law firms. And I think with that change is going to come a heavier focus on R&D and even more tech adoption. Because as it stands, it's like, these lawyers are finishing law school and then they're being told, create these legal arguments and at the same time, manage a firm. Those aren't their specialties. So I think what we're going to see is a lot more breakdown of the silos from the business world into law. And I think that means for folks like Noah and I, even more adoption and use of our technologies, which I think is going to be really exciting and ultimately benefits the end user, which is the client, which is what the delivery of legal services should be really about.